Okay, this episode is for you single parents out there because I know that everyone is different. I've put out now the third edition of the family success plan to support you through this whole lockdown period. We're on week 3 of lockdown here in San Diego. So I know that many of you have figured out the ebb and flow, but many of you have not. And maybe you're just at your wits' end right now, especially if you're a single parent. So this episode is for you. It's going to outline some best practices and recommendations for your own personal health and sanity, and also a sample schedule based on young children, because let's face it, our younger children can be more of a handful and they require and very much deserve their cup full of loving attention from you to be filled. So I'm going to keep that in mind too and leave you feeling empowered with a schedule that's going to work. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, Melissa Dillon here to interrupt the show real quick to let you know that the second edition of our COVID-19 Ultimate Family Plan has now been released. Go to raisingkindness.org to download your copy of the second edition, which is packed with a step-by-step guide to helping you find clarity and calm in your routine going into the second week of the lockdown period. Also, a huge list of resources to help you through gaining that clarity and calm that you're seeking, and also homeschooling your children, managing work, all that stuff. So please go to raisingkindness.org and download your copy of the second edition today. Now, let's dive into the show. We're replacing the More Time Loving Mom Life show right now with support to get you through this, feeling like you're continuing to thrive in a life that you love with your kids. Let's do this. Okay, I hope that this episode finds you very well today. And if this is your first time here, welcome to the show. I really hope that you find this really helpful. And if you've never been here before, please do subscribe, especially if you find this one helpful, because I've got tons of episodes planned out for you after this one and tons of episodes before that. So you'll make sure to get notified and that you won't lose your spot here on the show. So I hope you find yourself a home here. Subscribe so you can get your notifications. Okay, let's dive in. My number one recommendation that I'm going to throw out there for you before we dive in is to consider quarantining now at this point. Now that it's been a couple of weeks, quarantine with another parent if you can. That way you guys can share the responsibilities just like a couple would, but you are sharing at basically as roommates during this period of time to give yourself some sanity and a little bit of separation, to get you some good dedicated work in that's uninterrupted. Now, I understand that some of you may not have this luxury of having someone who's also a fellow single parent, but I just wanted to throw this out here as a possibility, as a way that you can team up with someone else and relieve your workload in case you haven't thought about that. And if you do team up with someone, you might want to listen to this episode and then go over to the couples routine that was published just before this one. Go to that and listen to that together with your new roomie, your new lockdown roomie, so that you can come together as a team and create a system that works. Also, if you haven't yet, go to raisingkindness.org and download the third edition of the Family Success Plan, because whether you are single or married, that plan is for you to really get some clarity on creating a family routine and schedule that you and your kids love together. So it's taking into account your children's needs too, and pulling together as a real family unit and team to create a routine that keeps everyone's needs in mind. Now, regardless, so if you're a single parent, my heart is with you. Was a single parent for 15 years before I got married, and I know that it can be challenging, and you are a rock star. I want to remind you to be kind to yourself throughout this period of time. I know it's a heightened period of stress. It's a heightened period of stress for all of us. So be gentle with yourself if you lose patience with the kids, if you lose patience with yourself, if you're frustrated that you haven't been as productive as you wish. Let all of that go, friend. Let all of it go, because you do not need this right now. What you do need is some self-compassion, and to remember that no matter what, you're doing the best that you can. And as long as you're operating with that mindset and operating from a place of love, then you're 100% on the right track. Okay. And the reality is now that we all only have 24 hours in a day. So now that you're sharing that same 24-hour period with your children now all at home, you've got to make the best of the time that you have and enjoy it with balance. So I'm going to give you, before I get into the sample routine, I'm going to give you some tips to keep in mind before you're getting your routine set up, some tips to keep in mind to take care of your body, take care of your children's little bodies, and take care of your mind with some more balance and clarity, okay? And just keeping in mind the realities of what our body needs during a period of stress. So, number one is to be mindful of your required sleep. So, the amount of sleep that you needed before lockdown may be very different while you're under stress now. You may need more sleep. So, if you're finding yourself waking up, and even though you're like, I only need 7 hours of sleep every day before, why do I feel so tired? It's because your body is a little run down from the stress. Pay attention to that cue. Give yourself a little bit of extra sleep time in your schedule so that you are feeling that refreshed energy that you deserve to have for yourself and your children when you wake up in the morning. Number two is to eat healthy and set a regular routine of meals and a regular routine of active play. So, meals and playing are two wonderful opportunities for you and your children to come together, to reconvene, reconnect, and fill those cups with the loving attention that both of you deserve together. So, creating that regular routine with the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks that your children are used to and that you should enjoy as well with them. And then your children are used to having two playground periods of time at school. So normally they'll have morning recess, outside playtime, and afternoon recess, outside playtime. They're not getting that right now. So if you guys are feeling that, we're all pent up and we have so much energy, what do we do? It needs to be let out at least twice a day for at least 30 minutes each period. So by spending that time together and enjoying play together, you can let go of your responsibilities, dive into play, and take care of your body at the same time. Sound fun? Okay. So number four is keeping in mind your child's sleep routine. So depending on the age of your child, I'm going to throw a couple little stats at you to keep in mind, is that your preschool child needs about 10 to 13 hours of sleep, whether that be like 11 hours overnight with a couple hours a nap or 12 or 13 hours straight through. Then your 6 to 13-year-olds need about 10 and a half to 11 hours of sleep. So taking that into account, that means you've got about 12 hours of your day where your child is awake with you. So realistically, you're just not going to get an 8-hour shift in. It just isn't going to happen. I've analyzed it and looked at other people's comments and spoken to a lot of families, a lot of moms, a lot of dads. We serve over 400 families with our mobile tumbling program, and all the feedback that I'm getting, whether it's there or the Facebook groups that I'm heavily involved in with fellow parents just like you, I've looked at it. The schedule of an 8-hour solid shift just isn't feasible. And if your supervisors and managers are aware that you have children, they're probably also aware that the 8-hour shift isn't going to happen either. So just do the very best that you can and lean on some of the educational tutorials that I've already published for you to get your work done faster so that you might even get more productive in less time than you have been in the office before lockdown. I don't know, just throwing it out there. So just wanted to throw that out there that the reality is you're only going to get 6 to 7 hours tops for work, especially if you don't have any help and you're doing this all alone, and that you're incorporating the routine I'm about to put forth for you. Okay, so are you ready to dive in? Let's do this. So going into, let's see, yes, a sample schedule with your preschooler. So I'm just looking at my notes here. All right, so this is based on really incorporating a lot of time to fill your preschooler's cup. Now, I'm saying preschooler, but no matter how old your child is, this routine is definitely going to apply, and then you would adjust it accordingly based on the age of your child. So if you have older kids, you're not going to have to take as many breaks. This is a challenging schedule, or not challenging, I don't want to say that, but it is a set schedule to keep your child's cups in mind. When I say cups, I mean the cup, the love and attention cup, and also their power cup, where they feel like they have some say in the routine and feel like they have your attention, your undivided attention. When you have older children, they don't need this many breaks that I'm going to put forth for you. So this is going to be a breeze for you too. So I'm assuming that your child wakes up at 7. So from 7 to 8:30, your kiddos, you and your kiddos are going to have undivided morning play and breakfast time. So this is a time to fill all of your cups with that loving attention. Don't open your computer, don't open your phone screen. Keep those off until 8:30. Then from 8:30 to 9, um, you'll do some homeschool, getting your older ones prepped for school on their independent time. I know a lot of schools are doing their virtual learning, but with the preschoolers, it could be anything different. From 8:30 to 9, you'll do like a circle time or some worksheets with your kiddo, get them set up. And then from 9 to 9:15, you're going to prep your workspace. And this is a workspace shared play space with activity number 1. So you're going to set up an activity for your child. This can be Play-Doh or coloring or their own worksheets they need to do, their own schoolwork. You're going to prep that space so that you can have your dedicated workspace and they have their own little desk with their own dedicated play. So you're going to spend about 15 minutes preparing. Then from 9:15 to 9:45, you'll do the shared work and play. So get a batch of some tasks that are very similar. I want you to go and listen to my episodes all about batching, and I'll put the episodes in. This is super important for this routine to work because you're going to create little blocks of time where all the tasks that are very similar will be done all at once. That way, you're not switching your brain around in these 30-minute to hour stints of working. You're just working on one type of task at a time. So 9:15 to 9:45, you're working on one kind of task while your child is working on their own stuff. Then from 9:45 to 10, you'll transition to some active play, like a dance party, playing outside, and then prep activity number 2. So this is just a short 15-minute break to get you guys wiggling and reconnecting. Then from 10 to 10:30, you're going to do that again, another batch of tasks, shared work and play. And then from 10:30 to 11:15 is your snack and outside play. So 10:30 to 11:15, you're getting some good exercise in with your kiddo. I highly recommend using this opportunity to have that active time that I was sharing with you before. Your child needs one morning and one afternoon play period. You also need your physical activity to continue to feel like you're energized to get through your day together. So enjoy a snack together, get outside and wiggle and play, and then come into 11 to 15 to 12. You're going to do a shared work play session number 3. So your child is going to be doing a third activity of their choice. It could be, and every activity can be their choice. Give them a couple choices. Would you like to do Play-Doh or color right now? Would you like to paint or do a worksheet? Give them choices so they're filling that power cup and they feel like, yeah, I chose to do this while mama works or daddy works. So 11:15 to 12, shared work play, activity number 3. Then from 12 to 1 is your lunchtime, story time, transitioning to nap or quiet time. So I love the 2-hour period in the middle of the day where lights are dimmed and music is mellow and the activity that you're doing is mellow unwinding time, where it's like coloring only or painting only or things that don't require a lot of really active activity. And this is for your non-nappers, and then for your nappers, they'll go down around this time between 12 and 1 until about 2ish. Okay, so from 1 to 2 during that nap quiet period, then you're working. You're having dedicated focused work, 1 to 2. 2 to 2:30 is some good together time. Maybe your little ones have just woken up, and now is a time to come together, enjoy some dedicated one-on-one time with each of them, have that time to reconnect and fill each other's cup with the attention. 2:30 to 3 is is a work session for you and a snack for your little ones or for your children. And then 3 to 3:30 is another outside play exercise time. So are you picking up on the theme here? Is there are a lot of breaks going on. So you've got half hour to hour long stints of work, but those breaks, they're just necessary, especially with your littler ones. If you have older ones, you could probably go a good couple hours, but I bet you those interruptions where they're just like, Mom, I'm hungry, or Dad, I'm hungry, or when is dinner, and when is, those questions where they're coming in and constantly interrupting will diminish dramatically as long as you're filling their cup with that loving attention. Okay. So that's what this is doing, is it's being proactive, incorporating those regular routines and schedules, and creating an environment where you're disciplined to to have your work batched. So to have all the similar tasks put together in these little windows of time, these little blocks of time, so that your brain isn't constantly switching back and forth. Okay, so that's outside play and exercise is from 3 to 3:30. 3:30 to 4:30, that's activity number 4 in work time. So a nice hour-long work stint. 4:30 to 4:45 is a break together, so a 15-minute break. And then here's where I incorporate a little TV time, and you can put this anywhere in the day, but 4:45 to 5:45, your children are enjoying TV while you continue to work. 5:45, this is when you just get to enjoy being together from 5:45 to bedtime. And I know all your children might be on a different schedule, especially have multiple kids in different brackets, but this will be a great time for you to go through your regular routine that you normally would, keeping some sort of resemblance of what you had before lockdown. Bedtime and breakfast time are those two periods where you can really incorporate that because you guys are usually home together during those times anyway. So turn off the screens, turn off notifications, just enjoy being together. And that'll be a rule across the board for you and all the kids. And then from bedtime to about 8 or 9, then you'll continue to work slash use that period of time to plan and prep for the next day's work. So maybe part of that is also incorporating some ideas, planning ahead for those 4 daily activities. So we had 4 activity blocks for your children. So this would be the time to review what they've shared with you during your own planning process with the Family Success Plan that's published at raisingkindness.org. If you haven't downloaded it, go do that. Go through those steps because it does incorporate giving your child an opportunity to have a voice, to share the things they really want to do. So that way, when you're doing your planning and prep for the next day, you're keeping in mind things that they want to do, that they already told you, and then they'll feel really special that you heard them. So in the evening, you can just use that as like a mellow work, shutting down everything, debriefing, following up on the last final emails before you close out your day with colleagues or supervisors, and then prepping all your next day's work and activities because planning is really the key to success and execution the following day, okay, or the following week for that matter. And then your much deserved unwinding me time. Don't skip this. So from 9 o'clock or so to bedtime is your time to just, watch your favorite shows or paint your toenails with essential oil diffuser. Or I'm just throwing out some ideas of things that I like to do, or spend some girl time with the roomie that you've got, your temporary lockdown roomie, or guy time, whatever. Play some games together, or hop on some social time, like social happy hour or evening time with some friends. Incorporating that into your unwinding time, whatever you need to feel like, I accomplished, check, good day, I took care of my body, and I'm unwinding, and you're ready for bed. So I hope that this schedule really works, and I would love to get your feedback too. Oh, and then some things that I wanted to show you or share with you. Got all my notes here. Oh, is that some things that you can do if this schedule feels like, this just isn't working for my kids. I've tried implementing it. This is a really tight schedule, or a very structured schedule, and I'm all about relaxed scheduling. So even though I may have an idea of what my blocks will look like and when they'll be, letting go of expectations of what the schedule is going to look like, knowing that your children are going to be sensitive. They may even continue to be sensitive now, especially if you've been in a routine that's not working. Being open, letting go of expectations, recognizing you're all ebbing and flowing in this as a family team. And then also, if this isn't working for you, this is a schedule that's based on you actually knocking out 7 hours of work and over 7 hours of time, dedicated time with your children. So, as awesome as that would be to do that every single day, it may not be feasible. So, sometimes you might need to split your work instead across 6 days instead of 5. And I only incorporated 1 hour of TV time. Let's be realistic. Some days you're not going to have any TV. Other days they're going to be watching a whole movie. Maybe it's a couple hours, but leverage that a little bit more if you need. But just be mindful of how your child is feeling and acting, I'll put the episode in the show notes that I where I uh, talk about paying attention to your children's cues to indicate if they've had too much TV, and then also creating just being mindful that this is a period of heightened stress for you and your family because you've been uprooted out of your routines. So just continue to remain calm, stay unattached to those expectations, and do the best that you can while continuing to take care of yourself with plenty of rest, water, healthy eating, and enjoy this time together. That's so, so important because ultimately we're not going to get this opportunity to spend this much time with our kids, and we should definitely cherish this as best as we can. And if you're struggling with this, remember raisingkindness.org. Go download that guide and it will really change your perspective. All right, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe. I look forward to talking with you next time, and I hope to see you there.